The film and gaming industries are beginning to collapse as enthusiast consumers reject woke in their media. Today's video comes from Vara Dark. Her channel will be linked in the description so you can go check her out and support her. Watch the end of the video to understand the full implications of consumers rejecting woke in their media, in their films, in their TV series, in their games, what this means going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Nobody asked for a Rey Skywalker movie filled to the brim with feminism and political messaging, but now we're hearing that things aren't going so well behind the scenes because Daisy Ridley and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's new Jedi Order screenwriter has exited this Star Wars movie, and it seems that it is indefinitely delayed. It says a new report claims that Lucasfilm is seeking another new screenwriter for its new Jedi Order film that is expected to star Daisy Ridley. Now, it is confirmed that the original screenwriter, who was a part of this project, did abandon it. It was added, Lucasfilm is now hunting for a new writer, which almost certainly means the film will not be ready by December 2026, the date Disney has staked out for a new Star Wars release. Now, it is 2024, almost the end of 2024. They would have had to have started filming in early 2025 to mid 2025 to hit any sort of date in December 2026, but I don't think that this movie is going to release at all whatsoever. I understand that Kathleen Kennedy is still at Lucasfilm. She's still pushing the Force's female messaging, but every single project that's done this has been a major failure, especially the recent release of The Acolyte. That was a flop for them. It did terrible numbers. Nobody's talking about it now, and all of those little petitions made by the people who just want to shill for Disney did not work out. They did not affect the outcome for this show. They were not able to turn the tides at Lucasfilm. And if they decided to actually go ahead with this Rey Skywalker movie, I think it'd be a complete and utter nightmare, simply because it's not like they're going into it just trying to tell a really good story that happens to feature a lead female character. Even though Rey is massively disliked, they still could have tried to have salvaged her character, but we know that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is a raging feminist, and she had implied the film will continue to inject feminism into Star Wars, which isn't what people want. Nobody wants a writer or a director to go into something hoping to inject some sort of messaging. It's okay if she had just said, we have this lead female, and she, can definitely hold her own. But, there's plenty of room for her to grow. That is the story we want to hear. We do not want Mary Sue's who start off a story and can do everything perfectly like Rey did in the 3 sequel trilogy movies. Nobody likes that. And if you continue to inject feminism into Star Wars, you're going to continue to lose a boatload of money. And now that we know that Stephen Knight is no longer writing this Rey Star Wars movie, and it's going to be indefinitely delayed, people are pointing and laughing. People are being brutal, saying at least they decided to write a whole movie before the start of filming this time, which, yeah, is true. I mean, we know for the sequel trilogy, they basically just were winging it, and that is probably another reason why the movies were so bad. Oh no, the movie nobody asked for is getting delayed. Good, I hope it gets canceled. Finally, some good news out of the Star Wars camp. Not sure who's luckier, Stephen Knight or Star Wars fans. Yeah, I mean, he really dodged a bullet, and if this does get canceled in totality, it is a major win for Star Wars fans because the trilogy that she was a part of was just truly terrible. Nobody wants to write it. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody in their right mind wants to direct it outside of that out-of-touch buffoon. Yeah, I mean, when you have a slew of people saying they don't want it, saying they don't want to write it or even be affiliated with it, maybe it's best to just let it die, bury it, set it and forget it, because this isn't going to be some massive financial success for them, there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to go and see it. And it's like with sequels, right? I love having sequels to movies, and I love seeing follow-ups when it comes to video games and companies trying to turn, movies and TV shows and games into franchises because one was really successful, like Ghost of Tsushima. Now we're getting Ghost of Yotei. But sometimes things don't need sequels. Sometimes things don't need follow-ups, and the sequel trilogy does not need any follow-ups. You do not need to bring Daisy Ridley back. You don't need to make a new Jedi Order movie with her. You need to move on. You need to forget that the sequel trilogy even exists if you want Star Wars to make money again.
You see, guys, what they've done is they've moved away from the very concept of what made Star Wars a franchise that people enjoyed. George Lucas told us what Star Wars was about. Star Wars was always a series, a movie franchise about fathers and sons. The greatest stories ever told are usually about fathers and sons, not fathers and daughters, but fathers and sons and differences in ideologies. If you think about it, many of the modern classics, even today that we appreciate, literally go around this very theme. It's intriguing, and of course, this is not something I would necessarily say is directly correlated, but even looking at the story of the Bible, the story of Jesus and God, fathers and sons, the story of man and God, fathers and sons, and our fall from grace, the story of Lucifer and God, a story of fathers and sons. All of these stories, there's a strong correlation, a relationship between the father and the son. However, what we have in modern society is an attempt to eradicate and erase that image, to eradicate and erase men from the equation, and instead put women forefront, replacing men with women. Look at Ariana Grande putting out music like If God Was a Woman, because these women are obsessed with themselves. They would like to rewrite God in their own image. And of course, they are prone to absolute lies. You cannot really believe anything they say. For example, Black China claiming she only made $2 million from Only Fools when it was reported that she made over $200 million. She is unfortunately a terrible liar. She has something like 50 million followers on Instagram. And there are women who don't have anywhere close to that, making crazy amounts of money on Only Fools. So, and she's like, oh, I only made $2 million. She told that lie to Tucker Carlson, and he basically ate it up. I like Tucker Carlson, but this dude's a bit of a simp sometimes. And it's just sad because he's like, oh, look at this. He's definitely one of the trad cons, or at least borderline trad con. Jesus can turn a simp into, can let a simp turn a simp into a housewife. Not a simp, but turn a 304 into a housewife. You've got to be kidding me. All right. Speaking of simps, they have the Jezebel spirit within them, have nothing to do with them. These are men who helped lead to the destruction of society. These are men responsible for much of the pain and suffering that us normal men are experiencing. These are men who refuse to learn their lessons, and they continue to carry on in this way. And they are the reasons why we continue to suffer, because they take no accountability for their despicable actions. They just want to continue on. They want money and they want kitty, and that's it. And they would scorch the earth to get it. And here's the thing: they were never your friend. Saying I'm trying to save other men. I'm trying to help other men to wake up, bro. They were never your friend. They were never on your side. You cannot trust these simps. You cannot. These dudes are. Listen to me. They are cockroaches and they are simps. All right. And a majestic cockroach actually performs a valid purpose to the ecosystem and so forth. The simp has no other purpose than to destroy and eradicate everything around it, because the simp has the Jezebel spirit within it. The simp is a wicked and evil individual. That's why we have all of this woke culture right now. It would not exist without the evil simp. The simp is first and foremost at the direct center of this, because simps operate as agents of the state. But we're beginning to see massive change as men wake up and reject this garbage, reject the woke ideology, and also begin to reject simps, put them out, say we're not having anything to do with them. Oh, you want to keep on simping? Okay, then to heck with you. You're not, cut them from the pack. All right. all of this garbage is beginning to really culminate in men walking away. And if they take away gaming from us, we'll just create new spaces. We will just create brand new spaces. We'll start reading books. We'll go back to old school comic books. We'll start reading the Bible. All right. And I guarantee you, y'all, I guarantee you, if men basically were to basically just start reading the Bible, they would try to alter the Bible as much as they've already altered it, and they would try to alter the Bible as much as they possibly could. Don't forget that religion is centered entirely around women. Okay? It's there's a different form of consumerism in religion. People don't go to church to praise God. They go to church for community and entertainment and to keep up to date with the theatrics that are going on in these psychotic places. You know, many of you know you have no business there. Sir, you have no business in these churches. If you want to get closer to God, you know, read your Bible and pray to him. That's it. I truly believe that a lot of these religions, they push us further away from the Lord than they bring us closer to him. And that's why you have to be strong in this day and age, because we are living in a world where the Jezebel spirit is running wild, and the Sims, you know, it is running wild like a lion, running wild like a devil, and it inhibits the evil simp.
And you need to drop the forces female feminist bullshit. There are not really many fans at all out there who actually want this, again, except for the massive Disney fans, and even they did not show up in droves to see these movies.
No one wants to see these movies. No one wants these movies. And the great thing is that they're only pushing Disney further into the red. And eventually something has to give. They can keep on trying to tax people more and more. But guys, when the economy collapses, they can keep on trying to shill it and keep make up figures and whatever. Eventually Disney will start to see the attendance in their parks diminish once again. They will begin to see people pull back in massive numbers. Okay, they've been propping up this crap forever. All right? I don't care, guys. Don't forget 1929. History repeats itself, or rather, as Mark Twain said, history rhymes. And trust me, it is going to rhyme quite loud this time. It's really gonna rhyme. And we're going to see a crash. We're going to see a major crash. And when it does happen, groups of people will crash. Society won't crash. Groups of people will crash. Groups of people will collapse. And they won't be able to continue charging these crazy prices. Don't get me wrong; they'll continue trying to charge these things, but they're gonna, you know, because they can't afford not to, because they've built their entire model around it. But people are gonna stop going to the parks. People are gonna stop watching their movies. It's gonna be hell. And the only thing that really are going to be thriving are, like, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine. We can see what Deadpool and Wolverine has been doing. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I immediately got it once it came out on digital. I loved it. It was absolutely incredible. It's exactly what we needed. I thought it was so funny. Oh my gosh. After so many years of all these garbage Marvel movies, and you know what's funny about this movie? This is something that it felt like back in the day, this was just kind of normal. Like, you got these kinds of movies back in the day and you didn't take them too seriously. And you're like, this is an old classic. This is like now creme de la creme, like the top of the top, the best of the best. Like, there are better movies out there. There are movies that have, you know, more substance to them. And yet this movie was just so good because it wasn't centered around, you know, liberation or feminism or any of our woke culture or politics. It was just a really, really good time. It was just really, really enjoyable. It was a buddy film. Just like you used to have those wonderful cop movies back in the day. Everyone loved those cop movies where you had the two guys and, you know, like 48 Hours or Rush Hour, Deadpool and Wolverine. Guys, everyone knows that we're all waiting for Deadpool and Wolverine too. I don't want the next Deadpool to be a Deadpool and Wolverine because I think this one was really good. And I want them to take time to get it right. Okay? But it's the strange thing about Deadpool and Wolverine is this is like a separate franchise now in a certain way. I know it sounds crazy, but you have Deadpool and then you have Deadpool and Wolverine. So I don't expect Wolverine to show up in the next film. I don't really want him to show up in the next film. But at the same time, I do feel like the film after the next Deadpool movie should definitely be a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, like Deadpool and Wolverine 2. And then again, at the same time, if it does take, if it's going to take like another 5 years for us to see the next Deadpool movie, because back in the day, guys, we would have a new movie every 2 to 3 years. There's no reason why we should be waiting another 4 years for another Deadpool movie. Like, 3 years max. They should be working on the next one right now, getting it together and getting out the door, because that's what the consumer wants. That's what we want as people. If you look at games like Dragon Age Velguard, Dragon Age is such an amazing series, and now it's going to hell. No one wants to play it. The player number, like the numbers are horrific. They've gone woke. They're going broke. And I'm not crying for them. There's actually a video that we have from Hypnotic, and he kind of delves into the situation quite a bit, where, Dragon Age, once, such a desired series, a highly praised series, it's gone to hell now, and there's not much they can absolutely do about it. Ubisoft is reeling and screaming. We're going to jump into the video from Hypnotic. His channel will be linked in the description, so you can go check him out and support him. And let's just go ahead and jump right in.
So Dragon Age the Veilguard is starting to go into the hands of certain YouTubers and streamers that have been able to get their hands on the game for about 6 to 7 hours of gameplay. This is an early review copy or an early look copy, and people are getting their hands on it and they are having their opinions. There is a lot of not so good opinions, shockingly, about Dragon Age the Veilguard. I honestly thought that these opinions would be a lot more protected, considering that, usually developers try to go to streamers that want to give them nothing but good press and good images in terms of their game. Now, apparently, Dragon Age the Veilguard is being described as a thin coat of paint and borderline soft reboot of the entire franchise.
Excuse me. I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay.
Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I think anybody can look at the trailers and look at the gameplay to understand that this is, in fact, a soft reboot of the franchise, which is so weird to me, because they're saying that this is supposed to be the last Dragon Age game. This is supposed to be, the final story in the overall arc between Dragon Age Origins all the way to Dragon Age 4. So I just think it's very, very strange that you're choosing to reboot the franchise now with this particular game if this is supposed to be the last one. Obviously, I don't believe that this is going to be the last one personally. I think they're just saying that to try to bolster sales as much as they possibly can, and then they're going to come out with another one, maybe 10 years from now. Who really knows? So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says YouTuber Neon Knight, who claims to have played over 7 hours of Dragon Age the Veilguard, has described the game as a thin coat of paint. In a recent upload to YouTube, Neon Knight said, "So with Dragon Age the Veilguard, there's been a lot of attempts, in my opinion, to convince the general public that this game is something that it really isn't, to convince you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, what you've been seeing in trailers and previews, and believe that the Dragon Age DNA in Veilguard, specifically its gameplay, is anything more than a very thin coat of paint." Now, I've been saying this for a while now, that just by looking at the gameplay and looking at the trailer, you can tell that this is something that's trying to be what it used to be, but it's not, right? You can tell that this is trying to be, at the very, very bare minimum, a semi-passing Dragon Age game. But when you look with your eyes and you listen with your ears, like Neon Knight said, you're going to realize that this is not exactly a Dragon Age game, right? And if it is a rebooted modern audience version of what Dragon Age used to be. Now, to be fair, Dragon Age has always changed a little bit throughout every single iteration. Now, the biggest change would probably be from Origins to 2, right? Origins to Dragon Age 2 was a massive difference in overall gameplay feel and just, what they were trying to do with the game. The look was pretty much there, right? It looked like a Dragon Age game. It had all the hallmarks of a Dragon Age game. The Kunari looked like Kunaris, right? Instead of the fucking TikTok version of Kunaris that we have in Veilguard. But then, from 2 to Inquisition wasn't really that drastic of a change. Obviously, the graphics got better. The character models changed slightly, but it really wasn't that drastic like it was with Origins and Dragon Age 2. This game is repeating what happened with Origins and 2, where you're going to go from Inquisition to Veilguard, and it is such a drastic difference. It is ridiculous. And then they try to lie you and tell you, no, it's not, it's a Dragon Age game. Trust us. We totally would have. No, you can see very clearly that this is a totally different fucking game. He continued, as someone who has played the game for about 7 hours a few weeks ago, well, I guess my thesis statement here that it isn't. A thin coat of paint is more or less exactly what Veilguard has to offer longtime fans, and serious level-headed discussion about the game is completely hampered by what seems to be an almost universal refusal to just say that out loud. Listen, there's no way There is no way that, I don't care how much of a show you are, and I know there's a lot of shows out there, but there's no way that you can shill for Dragon Age the Veilguard and try to sit there and admit to yourself that this is the same kind of Dragon Age game as what you had prior. The biggest evidence of this is whatever the fuck this creature is on the screen, right? This creature, this goat-looking creature that's trying to pass itself off as a Kunari, this thing, if this is a Kunari, this is not Dragon Age anymore, okay? I just want to be very clear with you guys. This is not Dragon Age anymore if this is the Kunari. Like, what is this thing? I don't even know.
You see, guys, this is being done by people who do not play games. This is being done by people who absolutely hate games. They hate gamers. They do not like us. They resent us. They say that the world would be a better place without us. And they don't even know how to create games, all right? You have people who are extremely woke that are playing around in the Unreal Engine, and they're just tossing on lighting effects and all kinds of other idiotic things, and the games that came out in previous generations look way better than the games coming out right now. If you look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League versus a game that came out versus Batman Arkham Asylum that came out over 10 years ago, you can see just how beautiful Arkham Asylum is versus, you know, Kill the Justice League, or the later Batman game that came out. I forget the name of it, Origins, or where the heck it is. It is absolutely crazy, the more recent one. Like, guys, they are destroying the gaming industry. They're destroying the things that people love. I really don't care. I actually never played Dragon Age, so guess what? This is incredible for me, because I'll just go over to GOG, right? And guys, all of these great games are coming out on GOG right now. I keep talking to you about GOG, good old games. And basically, you own the game. You know, for example, YSX Nordics is coming out. That's an RPG. It just came out, actually. Came out on the 25th of October. And now it's available on GOG and Steam. And they decided to put it on GOG. And guess what? You can own the game. It's the launch edition. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. And this means so much, because now we're beginning to see brand new games coming out day one on GOG, where you can purchase the game, you can own the game, you can download the installer, and it can never be taken away from you. If I want to give a copy of it to my brother, I could, or a family member, I could do that. If I wanted to give a copy of it to my best friend, I could do that. If I wanted to give a copy of it to the stranger on the subway, I could do that. It doesn't really matter, because I own the damn thing. And that's a really significant thing that we are experiencing right now. It's absolutely wonderful, and there's nothing they can really do about it. And like I said, for me, I didn't play the last Dragon Age games. So it's just like a brand new experience. Looking at GOG right now, there's actually Dragon Age Origins that came out in October of 2010. That's basically a brand new game for me. That's a brand new game. That's a brand new experience. The game actually looks absolutely beautiful. All right, it's highly rated. So I would go and I would just pick up Dragon Age Origin, and I would play the heck out of that, and I would enjoy the heck out of that. And that's only $20 on GOG right now. This is why we're all moving, like, everyone's moving back to older games. We're picking up games that we did not play back in the day. We missed a lot of these titles. Everyone's shifting. A lot of people are shifting over to PC games right now, as console gaming is getting way too expensive, and it just doesn't offer the same value or the same quality and freedom that you can get on PC. So more and more people are making the shift over there and saying, yeah, you know what, we're just going to shift over. We're going to go to PC. We're going to enjoy ourselves on PC and live our best lives on PC, you know. And for me, again, I just go over to, like, for example, if there's a game like Dragon Age Origin, it's actually pretty darn expensive. There's, I mean, I guess it's the Ultimate Edition on Steam right now. It's $29. On GOG, it's $20. It's just $20. It's literally just $20. So, I mean, that just goes to show you sometimes that does happen, where the games cost a little bit less on GOG, you know, but it's the same exact game. And I'm right. Yeah, Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition, it's $20 by default on Grand Old Games right now, and it's $30. $30 for the exact same game on Steam. And the game is very positive. The game is really, really positive. I'll read a comment for you from like on Steam. Dragon Age Origins is good, take with a few flaws. The first thing you should know is how to run the game on modern hardware. Since it likes to crash all the time, this is because the game's launcher can't use more than 2 gigabytes of RAM. However, check this out, guys. This is on Steam. This is because the game's launcher can't use more than 2 gigabytes of RAM. However, the fix is incredibly simple. All you need to do is follow this guide and replace the default exe with one that utilizes 4 gigabytes of RAM. It takes like 5 seconds to do that. As for the game itself, let's start with the good. The writing is fantastic. One would expect of 2000s BioWare. They really didn't pull any punches, and things can get pretty dark. I mean, guys, that's insane. That's absolutely insane what we are seeing, okay? So this was a really, really good game that came out in 2010. And I've been kind of like, guys, I've been like on a rampage just buying games. I've been looking for good titles to get. I wish I had picked this one up earlier, because I've been like, oh gosh, I really want to find a good RPG, and I had no idea. I didn't know that Dragon Age Origin was on GOG, but, you know, again, 20 bucks. It's $30 on Steam, 20 bucks on GOG. And you know what? I'm probably going to go up and I'm probably just going to go and say, you know, screw it, add it to cart and pick it up. The reason why is because the latest Dragon Age is coming out, and what they've been doing lately is whenever a new one is coming out, they basically jack up the price of the old one, or they delist it. So for me, this is a big FU to them, where I just go and I just pick up the damn game. So there we go. I just picked it up, guys. I've spent literally $700. I spent literally $700 in roughly the last week on GOG games. I know I'm bad. I know I'm absolutely bad. I know I have a problem. Hi, my name is Angry Guy, and I have a problem. I absolutely have a problem. I can't stop buying these games. I'm addicted to buying these games. They're just so incredible. You know, it's like once you start, you can't stop. There's actually a game called Alien Isolation. I just picked up a copy of it on Nintendo Switch. And the thing is, like, now that I've discovered GOG, it's like it's changed my life. It really has. Because I'm kind of like, okay, well, if there's GOG, then I can just buy my games if they're on there. Like, I'll look for the games, and it's like, holy cow, Alien Isolation is on there? I'll just pick up Alien Isolation, right, on GOG, and I'll own the game. Like, you know, I'm waiting for a sale to actually come up. Waiting for a sale to come up so that I can go and pick it up, scoop it up even cheaper. Because the collection right now for Alien Isolation collection is actually $50. But the actual game itself, I have it on my wish list. Like, just the game alone is $40 on there. And, you know, there's always these sales. It's always going on sale. So once it goes on sale, I can scoop it up for maybe $15, maybe $10. And I get the launcher. So I own the damn thing. Like, this is like, it's a dream come true for me. It really is, compared to the modern day era where you will own nothing and be happy, because you don't own those games on Steam.
From there, he shared that the game will be compared to God of War 2018. He said that the game's combat and exploration is full-blown, or at least 85% God of War 2018 warship. This new Dragon Age is all about the action, building up a rage meter to release an ultimate, getting your perfect parries in, shield throws, talismans that activate special abilities, plenty of pots to break and chests to open. You get it. Point is, somebody really liked God of War 2018 and said, why don't we just do that and be done with it? So that would be extremely, like, I'm not going to say it's bad, right? Because the gameplay loop in God of War is pretty good. I'm not going to say that's bad. But what I'm going to say is that's not Dragon Age, right? That's not exactly Dragon Age. Dragon Age should be a lot more in-depth than that. Dragon Age should have a more complex combat system than that. Dragon Age should be a lot more than just a God of War 2018 reboot. And if they really went with that style of combat and exploration, that's going to suck, okay? That's going to suck. And you know what? I actually do believe it, because if you look at some of the earlier gameplay trailers, you're going to realize it looks really goddamn linear. It really does. It looks super linear. And now that I think about it, looking back, it actually does look like gameplay from God of War 2018. It really does. The same exact style of gameplay, just with a coat of paint that's trying to pass themselves off as a Dragon Age game. Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense now that I think back on it. Next, he noted that the game will also be compared to the Guardians of the Galaxy video game regarding its tone. He said that this is the point of the video where some of you recoil in horror and maybe projectile vomit, but it is also the point where at least some of you are probably thinking, hey, those are two not too bad games at all. You could do much worse in terms of comparison. And yeah, if you're thinking that, I completely agree. However, he noted that these two games are not what Dragon Age fans are expecting a Dragon Age game to be compared to. That's true. That's absolutely true. There is no denying that the Dragon Age fan base of just 6 months ago would have torn that imaginary person apart for merely suggesting such a thing.
It's so crazy because the story of BioWare is interesting. The BioWare was founded by, I believe, 3 physicians who decided they just didn't want to do medicine, so they decided to go and make games, and they began making the most amazing games ever. This is crazy. It was founded by 3 physicians that wanted to make games. So they went to medical school and they were like, yeah, being doctors is just not that fun. Let's go make games. And they founded a studio called BioWare, you know, I guess related to the fact that they had been in medicine, and they just started putting out banger after banger after banger. Like, this is just how men work. They ended up leaving BioWare years ago, of course, and the studio is now going on decline. You know, I mean, again, I just picked up Origins as we were talking. I saw it on there. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pick this up because this other game is coming out, and what they love to do is they love to jack up the price or just remove it unlisted so that you can no longer get it. So I was like, screw that. Like, you know, for example, Sonic, the original Sonic Generations, that game was like it was usually around $20, and they delisted it. So you have to pay $50 if you want to get Sonic Collections, and then the game's in there, or you can pay $50 for the new Sonic Generations and Shadow. But you know, the game was selling during Steam sales for as little as $4.99. I wish I had gone and picked the damn thing up before this happened. You know, spent $20 and gotten it, even though it's basically the equivalent of a long-term rental. Wish I had gotten it before that happened. But it's all good. I mean, I can always probably find it dirt cheap, find a physical copy of it on well, that's kind of the thing, because like I have a Nintendo Switch, I have a Switch, and I have a Steam Deck. Those are my primary gaming hardware, and then of course I have my I have all my large collection of games. So basically, it's all PC gaming for me at this point. I refuse to get a PlayStation 5. I just don't want to. I don't want to have, because I'm pretty much all digital right now. Like buying physical games, I'm going to do it eventually, but buying physical games, I have to worry about them and lug them around. I'm just not in a place right now where I want to do that. So for me, GOG is a complete godsend, and it's just really nice knowing that I have access to my games and I actually own them and I can do what I want with them. I have the installers. Guys, you have to get on GOG. It is so awesome. It feels so good actually owning something. The greed that we are seeing and living through in modern society is so profound right now. It's ridiculous. You know, I mean, guys, the individuals that are responsible for these disparities in our society, they are creeps. The simp is a creep. The simp is a punk. The simp is a harlot. The simp is it's a heretic, and they have to be held accountable, because now men are walking away from the garbage in the society. You know, to Ghost of Yotai looks like crap. They didn't actually. They don't give it they don't give us an attractive female character. Instead, they give us a very unattractive female character that no one would want to play as. It's like all the characters have to now be ugly. I'm gonna spend how many hours, like dozens of hours, playing this game to play as an ugly character versus, like, you know, a game like this, Ghost of Tsushima, that you're actually watching right now, this director's cut, and you can see like how beautiful the game is, how, you know, the character looks fine. But it's like, you know, if you're gonna be playing a game for a long time, the character, you know, you should, if it's a man, he should be handsome. He should basically be a Chad. If it's a woman, she should be beautiful. You know, you should not be sitting around having to play as ugly characters indefinitely. No one wants that crap. No one wants that. And like I said, the games from Eastern Society that are coming right now, like the new Wu game coming from China, is absolutely a banger. It's a stunning game. You know, I've shown you this game a couple of times. It's called Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. It was actually shown off during the Xbox partner showcase, I believe. And it's coming to PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox Series consoles. And the game is gorgeous, and it's made by, I believe, 505 Games, which is a Chinese studio. It is a AAA title. In the same breath as Black Myth Wukong, it stars a beautiful female character, and it looks like a mix of like Onimusha and Ghost of Yotai. Not Ghost of Yotai, but Ghost of Tsushima. No one wants to play Ghost of Yotai, and the characters in the game are absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's great, and you could see, like, look at this, guys. This is a game that people want to play. This is a game that people will enjoy. It's not stripping away femininity. It's not stripping away, you know, beautiful traits. It's actually bringing them out and giving us a really badass female character to play as. And she has all these different outfits. Some outfits make her look like a witch. Some outfits make her look like a demon. It's insane, and she's like fighting these demonic spirits. And you know, even the enemies are absolutely gorgeous. You know, this is incredible what we have here. The female enemies are beautiful, absolutely beautifully designed. They look insanely elegant. The monsters are designed so well. You can see that these are people who actually know how to program games. Okay? Black Myth Wukong has basically sold right around $1 billion at this point. It's done right around $1 billion in sales, and you can tell why. Look at this character on the screen. It looks kind of like a bird. It's like a female hybrid of a bird, and it has wings. And if you see the face that's coming up, absolutely elegant, absolutely gorgeous. These are the bangers that we can expect. You know, so even though the West is falling in terms of games, you know, the mainstream games, you know, we are seeing major rises from the indie world. I love indie developers. Indies are really stepping up, and they're going to be taking over and leaving a lot of the garbage behind. So the South Korean developers, indie developers, we have a lot coming and a lot to be excited for.
Yet ultimately, that's the type of game BioWare has made here. So again, ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear. I don't think that BioWare of today gives a shit about what the BioWare fans of yesterday want from their Dragon Age games. That much is very clear. You can tell, even just not even like looking at the gameplay, you could tell just overall with the tone of the game, they don't care about what Dragon Age fans wanted prior. They're actively telling you to forget Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. They only want to include specific portions that are going to push their narrative from Dragon Age Inquisition, but even that game they want you to forget. They want you to forget everything prior to what Dragon Age the Veilguard is. They want to pretend like previous BioWare didn't exist, because the Corin Bush BioWare, the one where they're talking about, you know, trans surgery scars, they want you to forget everything they came before, and they want you to think that this now is a definitive Dragon Age experience. This right here is what Dragon Age is, and if it truly is as linear as God of War 2018, that's going to be quite unfortunate for previous Dragon Age fans. But like I said in many videos prior, and I'm going to say it again in this one, Dragon Age fans are very similar to what Star Wars fans were before, where right now they're experiencing their franchise radically changing, and in a way that most people don't like, right? Most people don't like a couple of things, the aesthetic, the combat, whatever. Most people don't like it, but they're still in denial for the most part. They're still thinking, well, maybe it'll be good, right? Maybe it will be, who knows? But they're still in denial. They haven't been wronged too many times for them to say, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. Like Star Wars fans, it took a few shows. It took a few smacks in the face for them to completely check out. And then for a lot of people who are really, really stubborn, it was the Acolyte that made them fully check out and say, you know what, I'm done, right? But that took a few episodes for it to happen. This is the first game after Inquisition. It was 10 years ago, right? 10 years. That's a long time. So they're pretty stubborn. They're pretty stuck in it, and they're going to be like, well, maybe it's good. And they're not really going to be, you know, they're pretty much in denial at that point, and they're ignoring what their eyes and their ears are telling them. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, can Dragon Age the Veilguard be good? Absolutely. But is it going to be a good Dragon Age game? That's a whole nother conversation to have.
And one of the more important things we just have to admit to is just how ugly, and I'll say it again, ugly the character models are in these games. No one wants this crap. No one wants to play as an ugly character model for 60, 70, or over 100 hours indefinitely. Like, it's ridiculous what they're doing. They're trying to kill off the gaming industry. The woke mind virus has spread far and wide. One thing that's really cool, guys, for those of you that don't know, there was the Donald Trump interview. It's already been posted to YouTube between Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, and it's absolutely breaking the internet right now, regardless if he wins or not, because, you know, things could happen. They're saying that it may take 4 days for the whole election thing to be settled, for them to even count all of the votes, all the absentee ballots. I don't know, guys. This is the situation that we're in right now, but I just find everything so darn interesting, what's happening. But one thing remains: no one wants this garbage. No one wants these woke games with strong liberated women characters in it. No one wants these games with soy boy looking guys. No one is going to pay for this. These same idiots that are like, oh, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be like Dragon Age Inquisition. It won't be. They can go, guys. They're watching this stuff, and they'll pick it up, and then they'll cry a river up, and then the sales will start to fall flat. And that's really where it's headed. It's like we can eat it this way, and then they just become miserable. All of these studios are falling apart as a result of DEI, and it's incredible. We're heading towards a gaming crash. But like I said, that from that, we can rise from the ashes, and something better can come along, guys. But again, no one wants this garbage, and I say just let it die. Let it die. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Are you surprised what's happening here? The new Star Wars movie is getting delayed with Rey, that no one absolutely wanted. And Dragon Age, along with other games, are basically beginning to flop left and right. Some studios are closing down. Ubisoft is on a deathward spiral right now and just begging people for money. Oh, give us money for this, please save us. They've lost 80% of the company's value over the last 5 years. They went from like a $13 billion company to a company being worth less than $1.5 billion, and it's still falling. They'll supposedly be acquired by Tencent or whatever, or they'll go bankrupt, and then other companies will pick at the remains of their corpse. It's wonderful, guys, and it's about time. Go woke, go broke. Go woke, go broke. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And cheers.